When it comes to raising capital, your pitch deck is more than just a presentation. It is your gateway to investors, accelerators, and strategic partners. In the fast paced world of startups, this single document can determine whether your idea secures attention or gets lost in the noise. Investors often review dozens, if not hundreds, of decks every week. You have only a few minutes to make an impression. A winning pitch deck isn't about overwhelming with data or dazzling with jargon. It's about storytelling. It's about showing that you understand the problem, that you've crafted a solution worth betting on, and that your team has the vision and capability to execute. Today, we'll break down the anatomy of a pitch deck that captivates, persuades, and opens doors. The first thing to understand is why pitch decks matter so deeply. Your deck is often your first impression. Before a phone call, before a meeting, before an investor even knows your name, they see your deck. It is the first filter they use to decide if you're worth more of their time. If your story is unclear, if your evidence is weak, or if your presentation is sloppy, the opportunity is lost before it begins. The golden rule of pitch decks is that strong decks equal clear stories plus compelling evidence. The goal of your deck isn't to close the deal on the spot. It's to spark enough genuine interest to earn a conversation, a meeting, or a deeper dive. That's the real win. And here's the truth: simplicity wins. Clear, direct messaging beats industry jargon every single time. The best decks put story first, weaving a narrative that makes investors lean forward, and then they back it up with data, traction, and proof points. Story engages the heart, evidence convinces the mind. You need both. This is why pitch decks are so critical. They are your chance to make the first impression count, to tell your story in a way that no one can ignore. Every great pitch deck follows a logical flow. There are 5 core sections that create the foundation of your story. The first is the problem. You must define the pain point you're solving clearly and compellingly. The problem needs to feel urgent, relatable, and unavoidable. Investors must see it not as a minor inconvenience, but as a real pain that demands a solution. Make it personal, make it vivid, because if the problem isn't clear, no one will care about your solution. The second is the solution. This is your chance to present your product and show how it directly addresses the problem. Don't just tell, show. Use visuals, screenshots, or demos. The more tangible the solution feels, the easier it is for investors to believe. The third is the market. Here you must demonstrate that the opportunity is massive and timely. Investors want to know that you're not just solving a problem, but solving it in a market big enough to build a billion-dollar company. Timing matters too. Why now? Why is this the perfect moment for your solution to win? The fourth is traction. This is where you prove that people actually care. User growth, revenue milestones, pilot results, or partnerships all count as traction. Evidence of demand separates dreamers from doers. Finally, the fifth is the team. Investors bet on people as much as they bet on products. Show why your team is uniquely positioned to execute. Highlight relevant experience, complementary skills, and past wins. Make them believe you are the right people for this mission. These 5 elements: problem, solution, market, traction, and team are the backbone of every successful deck. They tell a story that flows naturally from pain to solution to opportunity to proof to execution. Beyond the essentials, there are several other slides that strengthen your case and close gaps in investor thinking. The business model slide shows how you plan to make money. This isn't just about saying, we'll monetize later. You must show revenue streams, unit economics, and the path to profitability. Investors want to know not just that people want your product, but that they'll pay for it in a way that scales. The competition slide maps the landscape. Every investor will ask, why you? Why now and why not someone else? Your job is to articulate your unique advantages and explain why you'll win. Ignoring competitors makes you look naive. Acknowledge them, then demonstrate your differentiation. The go to market strategy shows how you'll acquire customers and scale efficiently. Customer acquisition channels, partnerships, sales processes, all of these matter. Investors need to see that you understand how growth will actually happen. The financial slide provides realistic projections and assumptions. This is not about wild guesses, it's about showing a credible path to revenue, profitability, and key milestones. The numbers must be grounded in logic and data. Finally, the Ask slide makes your request clear. Specify how much money you're raising, what milestones it'll help you achieve, and how you'll use the funds. Be specific. Vague asks weaken credibility. Together, these additional slides complete the picture. They address execution, competition, financial health, and the return on investment. They give investors the confidence that you've thought through the entire business. Now, let's talk about how to deliver your deck effectively. The first principle is keep it concise. Your main presentation should be no more than 10 to 15 slides. Investors have limited time and attention. A short, sharp deck shows you respect their time and can distill your story clearly. The second is visual storytelling. Replace dense text with visuals, charts, and graphics. A powerful image or a clear graph communicates faster and sticks longer than paragraphs of text. Investors should be able to grasp your message at a glance. The third is show evidence. Customer logos, growth charts, testimonials, and metrics bring your story to life. Claims without data sound like dreams. Proof points turn them into reality. The fourth is stage appropriate content. A seed stage deck emphasizes vision, problem, and early traction. A Series A deck emphasizes metrics, growth rates, and market capture. Tailor your story to the expectations of your stage. The best decks balance inspiration and proof. They engage emotionally, but they also withstand rational scrutiny. This combination is what convinces investors to lean in. Examples from the real world show us what works and what doesn't. Airbnb's early deck is a textbook example. It clearly identified a problem: travelers struggling with expensive or impersonal hotel options. It presented an elegant solution, a platform for people to rent out spare rooms. It highlighted a massive market opportunity in travel and hospitality, and it backed it up with early traction evidence from their first hosts and guests. Simple, clear, compelling. It worked. Uber's pitch was another winning example. Their deck combined a crystal clear vision, reinventing transportation, with compelling market size data and growth potential. They showed both the dream and the numbers, balancing story with evidence. On the flip side, there are common failure patterns: overwhelming slides packed with dense text that no one can read, vague or unclear problem definitions that don't resonate, financial projections that look more like wishful thinking than credible forecasts, and perhaps most fatal, no real evidence of traction. The ultimate lesson is that winning pitch decks tell a compelling story backed by solid data. They balance emotional engagement with rational proof points. They create a narrative investors can't ignore. At the end of the day, your pitch deck is more than a presentation. It's your story, your credibility, and your shot at opportunity. The anatomy of a winning pitch deck is simple but powerful. Define the problem, present your solution, prove the market, show traction, and highlight the team. Strengthen it with business models, competition analysis, go to market strategies, financials, and a clear ask. Deliver it with brevity, clarity, and visuals. Back it with real evidence. The stories of Airbnb and Uber remind us that the best decks don't overwhelm, they clarify. They don't exaggerate, they prove. And they don't confuse, they persuade. The final takeaway is this: a pitch deck's purpose is not to close the deal, but to open the door. It's the start of a conversation. If you can tell your story in a way that makes investors lean in, ask questions, and want to know more, you've succeeded. A winning pitch deck isn't about perfection, it's about clarity, conviction, and credibility. Master that, and you'll master the art of raising capital.